Real Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Why, oh why are the fans always last to be considered? The Celtic game at Pittodrie called off less than an hour ago. It's disgraceful. They knew the weather was bad. Why was this not called earlier? Why was the pitch inspection not earlier today? Celtic fans have travelled up in numbers. Aberdeen fans will be disappointed as well. But Celtic looking forward to maybe getting 3 points tonight. Rangers looking for the same against Killie. There's no issues whatsoever at Ibrox, of course. And for Dundee and Motherwell, it's off as well. I think it was called off around 2:30, 2:45 this afternoon. Motherwell fans, they were going up in numbers of over 1,000 and they're not going to be there. So Dundee still, an hour, 3/4 to get there. But Aberdeen, Andy, that news when it came in just after 4, it's shocking.
Yeah, obviously for any supporters who've already made their way, and I'm sure there's a fair number of them, it's not the news they want to hear. I'm sure they must have given it every opportunity to be playable, and maybe they've left it too late. I know there's just one, I think apparently it's just one area of the pitch and one penalty box. But with the forecast, I think it was always going to be... It was always going to be difficult. Ideally, you want this called off really early so that no one's travelling or the game goes ahead. The preparation has been really good. But you just feel for anyone who has made their way to Aberdeen.
James, we know it's the first days of February. It is the winter. These things can happen, but I just don't understand why it's so late in the day.
Yeah, you're right, Paul. Being makes it difficult when it's so late, but it happens too often. I get it. We get bad weather in Scotland, but we were talking there, this is a game it's a showpiece game for our league. It's a game people would be interested in with last night's result as well. It's live on the TV also, so for it to be called off just from a Scottish football perspective, it's really disappointing, not a great look for the league. But look, if the weather is that bad, but I agree with you on the timing of the postponement is poor.
Gregory's on already. 0808 17 17 700. He said, I'm not there. I couldn't make it because of work. But loads of my mates are there, stuck in Aberdeen. They'll get out of Aberdeen, but they're so disappointed. If you're there, give us a call. 0808 17 17 700. Hearts stuttering last night, James, as we know. Big opportunity for Rangers tonight at home to Kilmarnock.
Yeah, and that opportunity now with the Celtic game being off, it's a real chance for Rangers to go out and put a marker down. Obviously, they'll be happy with the result in Paisley last night and Hearts dropping points. And it's Hearts have been playing ahead of Rangers and Celtic quite regularly over the last couple of months, so it's a chance for one of them. There was always going to be a slip up, and the pros and cons of playing first or playing second. We get that. You can get your points on the board and sit back and relax and watch the other games, but that brings pressure as well. So tonight for Rangers, with Celtic being off, and for Rangers to go and try and get within 3 points of Hearts as well, that'll be what Danny Röhl will be saying. It's a massive chance for them tonight. So they need to go out, they need to do the business, and I'm sure they will.
Ryan Naderi, will we see him, Andy? He was bought at the transfer deadline just before it, 4.7 million, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but Rangers
Rangers
have done their business well before any sort of deadline, and they seem to be giving the manager the best possible chance of making a real fist of this title race. Hearts still very much in it, despite that hiccup last night. I'm sure you'll see Hearts, Celtic and Rangers dropping points between now and the end of the season. I don't see anyone being good enough to go to the end of the season undefeated. James
Naderi coming in for Rangers. We're going to talk transfer deadline as well. There was a lot in the go Monday night, yesterday as well. Oxlade-Chamberlain, is he on the way to Celtic? But what about Rangers overall in the window? What do you feel?
I think they've done great. Like Andy said it there, that they brought in early, and then even you seen they were still recruiting, they were still working right up to the end. I think that the Ryan Naderi one will be good. It'll be good for us to see. Obviously it's just reports, but when you speak to people or you hear about him, he's big, he's a target man. One thing Rangers do is they put quality balls into the box as well, so if that's his game, then that will suit him. The other good thing about him, he's been playing football. He's been on the pitch getting minutes. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts tonight. I've heard Danny Röhl in the last couple of days he's saying he needs some touches in our league, but again, you don't know if that's him just saying that. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts tonight, but I think he'll definitely feature, just with the fact that he's match fit and he's ready to go, and he's one I'm looking forward to seeing.
James is ready to play some of these clips because, Andy, we're going to hear from Danny Röhl in just a moment or two. I'm just thinking there, Derek McInnes, he'll be quite relieved, will he be, that at least he doesn't need to worry about the Aberdeen Celtic, Celtic tonight on their tails. He's only got the Rangers thing, or is he just going to be thinking totally about Hearts?
I think he's thinking about why are we getting so many red cards.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're all justified, and I liked his comment last night that his team are playing with fire. When you continually go down to 10 men, you're always up against it, and they have fought really well in the last couple of games. But being a man down last night, it was a problem of their own making, and you realised with St Mirren fighting for their life at the foot of the table, it was always going to be tough.
Rangers fans, what are you thinking ahead of tonight? If you're going to the game, give us a call. 0808 17 17 700, the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. James McPake is with us along with Andy Walker. Troy's been on the way to the game saying, I fancy 3-0 Rangers. Feeling quite buoyant and looking forward to seeing Naderi. I mean, Chamiti, we've spoken so much about that young man since he came, James, but the Celtic game, it looked as though maybe it'll kick off from here, but it's just not really happened for him. It's
not happened for him. The Celtic game, he scored important goals in that game. Obviously, Miovski's not set the hair alight either. He's not found the form that he had at Aberdeen, so you can see why Rangers went out and got another striker in Naderi, and the Rangers fans and Danny Röhl will be hoping he can hit the ground running and that starting tonight. But no, like I say, they've got options now. They can change it up. They can take people out the firing line if and when he feels like doing it. And no, that squad is strong, and he'll be pleased with the recruiting they've done throughout this window and what they've allowed him to bring in. So no, Rangers are strong, and they'll be looking to get those 3 points tonight and kick on.
Who's got the strongest squad, Andy? Hearts, Rangers or Celtic?
Well, the thing with Celtic is with the players that they've brought in towards the end of the window, they've got no pedigree as such. I know that everyone has got great potential. You're never too sure how a player will react to playing in front of 60,000, being inspired by teammates around him who might be better players than he's played with before. But it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I thought Celtic might have got some players in with a pedigree who everyone would recognise. They're ready made to go into the starting 11, but I'm sure their minds will be made up with every game that they play.
Celtic fans, some of them, the collective, are not happy about the window. They're calling for a boycott of the Cup game with Dundee at the weekend and planning a demonstration for the Stuttgart game. They're demanding reinstatement of the Green Brigade. There's 3 demands: the immediate removal of the Chief Executive, Michael Nicholson, and inclusion for fan media groups to the media conferences. So what's your view on that? 0808 17 17 700. When is the game going to be? Mikey's been on asking. Andy, we were looking at it along with James beforehand, because Celtic have obviously got a really crowded fixture list, going for the title, still in Europe, Cup games to come. Can you see a slot?
Well, I can only look as far as early next month. That might be the earliest possible opportunity of getting the game played. I'm sure Celtic wanted it on tonight, even allowing for the fact that always a difficult fixture. But I think what Martin O'Neill has done, he's made Celtic much more difficult to beat. They don't concede a lot of goals. They were conceding left, right and centre under Wilfred Nancy. So it's a blow that the game is off, as much for the supporters, I'm sure, as much as the players and Martin O'Neill. I think they wanted to play that tonight, especially given the result last night. Hearts giving both Celtic and Rangers the opportunity to get a bit closer.
Well, Hearts only 3 defeats all season, so it's a chink for the first time in the armoury, James, that, oh my goodness, they're not invincible.
No, they're not, and look, I thought that was a big game for them, going to Tannadice at the weekend and picking up 3 points and being comfortable in that game as well. And then getting into Paisley, we know they've got the Edinburgh Derby coming up next week again, that throws a different thing into the mix when Hibs are going to Tynecastle. Hearts will fancy that game, but it's a tough game and it's unpredictable at times. So look, I felt last night for Hearts and to go and win the league, that was a huge game for them, and for them to slip up. Now look, we've seen them in the games they have lost, they've come back and they've won their next game. They've done well in that. So Derek will be looking for that this time around. But again, is it the pressure getting to him? It's too early to say that, or it's after one game. But I think he's right in terms of the red cards. And yeah, I don't think you could have a go at Craig Halkett last night as such. I think Stuart Finlay makes a big mistake and it costs that. But they're now going to miss Craig Halkett for the derby as well. He's been fantastic. So with him being out, and just the pressure, if Rangers go and win tonight, obviously it's cup weekend this week, so we'll not see anything coming from that. But I just think now there'll be real pressure on Hearts when that gap gets cut. Obviously Celtic would have been looking to do the same tonight, but there'll be pressure on them tonight. Or if Rangers win tonight, there'll be pressure on Hearts that they've not felt before, and not many in there will have experience. So it's a big test for them now.
Let's hear from the managers. Danny Röhl first ahead of the games tonight. He was asked about the window in general and the late signing of Ryan Nadiri.
Yeah, at first I'm very happy that we could sign him yesterday, very late. I think it was a long process with him then finally, but we convinced him. I think he showed straight that he wanted to come. It was very clear. I had good talks with him as well. Yeah, we tracked him in the last couple of weeks and months. He scored, he had some good assists. I think he's powerful, he can run. Good header, good physicality, good pressing player. A lot of things what we need in front. We know still he comes to us and he needs also some minutes to adapt to a new league. I think this is normal. But I think general, when I look back to our window, I'm very positive about this, not just about the ins, also how we handle the outs. I think special when you look ahead in the second half of the season, we reduce the numbers, but we increased the quality in the squad. I think this is great. A good thing is as well that we signed players, not just loan. It shows that we have also a view for the long term, for the summer. I think that was also very important when we make decisions together. I think, and this is always about togetherness in the club at the moment. It's not just me or it's my favorite player. We speak a lot about how we can improve the group, and so far I'm very happy what we did so far.
Andy, on this show last night, your former teammate, a great friend, Peter Grant. So he said, look, at the end of the window, I'll tell you who I think's the favourite to win the league. And at the end of the show last night, he said Rangers. So he thinks Rangers are going to do it. What do you feel, Andy, now that the window is shut?
I still think Hearts are in pole position, even allowing for that defeat last night. They've only lost 3 games out of the 25. And Celtic, I think, it all depends on how quickly and how effectively these new signings can fit in, and what a difference can they can make to the team. I look at Celtic and everything has been so disjointed from the start of the season. Losing Brendan Rodgers, getting Martin O'Neill in, getting rid of him, getting Wilfred Nancy in, getting rid of him, getting Martin O'Neill in again, and then getting these players in. There's not many of them that have a real pedigree that you think, you can absolutely guarantee that they could come in, and we know from their previous experience what they're capable of. The guys they're bringing in now are pretty much, a lot of potential. So it's going to be some turnaround in the summer when you think of Celtic squad with maybe the goalkeeper leaving, maybe half a dozen players on loan. And the manager. They'll be away. Yeah. The manager will probably be away. You've got players like Engles, Hatate, Maeda. They will all want moves. It's not been a smooth transition from one season to the next. But I think, having said all that uncertainty, all that doubt, Celtic are still very much in it. And that would be down to Martin O'Neill and the way that he's brought everyone together.
And Rangers, would they be your call, James? I think you thought it's going to be Celtic. Now that the window's closed, are you going to change, or do you think it's going to be Hearts, Rangers or Celtic for the title?
No, I'm not going to change at the minute. And
you think Celtic?
I don't know if that's pride, just in terms of you don't want to change what you predicted at the start of the season. I don't think it'll be Hearts. And again, going to the points that Andy made there, I agree with it. That the biggest one for me is that Celtic and Rangers are still there. Now, Rangers have a chance tonight to go within 3 points. Rangers have only lost 3 games this season as well. Or 2 games, sorry. So when you look at that, and they've had a bit of upheaval throughout the season. We've seen that at the start with Russell Martin. So I just think that Danny Röhl's come in, he's stabilised the full football club. They've backed him. We allowing him to get his own players in and backed him pretty well. I just think that, yeah, it's been a fantastic season for Hearts so far, and the job Derek McInnes has done is incredible. Sure. But I just think with the fact that they're still there, that both clubs are there or thereabouts, and I think the Martin O'Neill factor will play a big part in it. That he's been around the block, he's experienced this before. He's been chasing teams in Scotland and come out on top. So I just think the experience, particularly at Celtic, will be enough to see them through.
So what about the new signings then? Martin O'Neill was asked yesterday, if you're just tuning in, the Celtic game is off tonight. Aberdeen, well, the referee has put it off late in the day. But Martin O'Neill spoke about the new signings on loan who came in the window.
Well, I think the first thing is this, that if you're talking about differentiating between quality and numbers, we need people in, because we can pick up injuries and suspensions after the transfer window, which is last night. That's it over. So whatever squad you have, that's it, unless you pick somebody else up on who's been out of contract. So from that viewpoint, it's fine. It's nice to get a few people in different positions. And what do I think they can add? I think they can help. I think they can help in the manner in which I think that that the 2 new arrivals who have played some games for us have done really fine. Just happy with them, and if the rest of them can make a sort of contribution, then I would be delighted.
Junior Adamu, the smiling striker, he says, Andy, and I see he said some of his favourite players, Lewandowski and Haaland. That would do you.
You can smile all you like, but once you get that strip on, you can react in different ways. You can be so inspired by your teammates around you, by the surroundings, or it might be a bit daunting. Maybe the jersey's a bit too heavy for you. So here's hoping it's one where he's still smiling every week because he's scoring goals. And
of course, they knocked back 20 million plus 5 million add-ons for Arnie Engles, which was coming in. It was going up and up and up, and they handled it well. Yeah. Are you surprised that they knocked back 25 million?
Yeah, really surprised, because that's their model. Yep. Get players. I know that he wasn't a £2 million signing that they've gone on to sell for excessive fees before, like Matt O'Reilly and Jota and what have you. But
still a good return, isn't it? 11 million he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he's 11 million, and you're getting offers of between 20 and 25. I'm just amazed that they're not doing that. But I can imagine that Martin O'Neill wouldn't want a player that he pretty much plays every time. So whatever he thinks of him, you've got to give the manager the say that he wants this player between now and the end of the season, because the prize is so great, the prize is so big, and Celtic are still in with a shout despite all this upheaval throughout the season.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Everyone has said about the shambles of the window in the summer and again just now, and then they had a promise of 25 million there, which is really tough to say no to. We know they've got money in the bank, but they've got no Champions League. And Arnie Engles, I guess they couldn't sell him just now. They hadn't recruited enough replaced or anyone in time.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that, and I think we can all agree that they've not had great transfer windows. Far from that. Yeah. I think you're right with saying a shambles. I think we all agree on that, and the fact that has happened is probably the reason that they couldn't let go of Arnie Engles. Now, the uproar from the fans had they sold him. And it's a great bid for a Scottish team. Look, we know that it's not in. When Premier League teams are signing players in England, it's not high end really what they pay, but for a Scottish player, and look, he's not set the heather alight since he's been in Scotland. He's been decent, and I think playing in a better Celtic team, you would see a lot more from him, because he's very technical. He's a real good footballer, but we've not seen that as such. But I think Celtic couldn't sell him. There were no way, in terms of what their fans, how they would have reacted. And I think Andy's right there with Martin O'Neill. If Martin's then coming into the club and he's helped him out the first time, and then he's come back in, he's stabilised it again, to then turn round and sell as Andy said, a player that plays week in, week out for him. I think that would have upset Martin. I think look, one thing about him since he's come back, and he was the same before, but he's really honest when he comes to the press. He says it really as he's clever as well, but I think he gives that honest answer back. And had that deal went through and he was asked about it, I think you would have got an honest answer that it wasn't one he was wanting to do. So that's what Celtic were troubled with, the fact that the fans would have went mad. I think Martin would have been unhappy with it as well. So you're right, they just couldn't do it.
Andy, I thought you were going to jump in there.
No. I think it's. I think the timing of it is really unfortunate, and I'm sure there are people at Celtic who are kicking themselves because that's a great piece of business to get someone in for that fee. And I agree with James. I don't think he's been outstanding. I think he's been a decent player. I think he's been good. He's. He doesn't look as though he's an £11 million signing, and the fact that someone's coming in and want to pay between 20 and 25. I'm sure they're hoping that he can attract as much money in the summer, because if you get a bid like that, I'm sure they'll do business then.
Kieran's been on 0808 17 17 700 up at Aberdeen. A Celtic fan, he said, I left this morning, 11 o'clock, to get there. Stopped, did some work on the way, and the game's off. The fans are the last to be considered, and why was it so late in the day? And I agree with you, Kieran. I don't understand it. Look, maybe it was really torrential rain, but I think it was at the Merkland
Do you think you should give the game every chance of being on, which means not having an inspection till later, or you make a decision really early? We know what the forecast is saying. You know the pitch isn't ideal. Do you call it off then? It's
Sure. You'd want to give it as much chance as possible. You're going to tie me up in notes here, Andy, I can tell, so I'm going to take a break. But you're right, we want the game to be on, but I just think it's, Celtic would wanted to play that game tonight.
Of course.
Yeah, Rangers playing tonight, Celtic playing, and last night Hearts losing for the first time in quite some time.
I don't think Aberdeen will be too upset. Shinnie wasn't playing.
Yep.
He was sent off the weekend. I don't think Milne was available.
No, that's right. And they were terrible at the weekend, so maybe they can regroup. Yeah. Listen, but it's not down to the players, but the referee called in, and at 4 o'clock this afternoon, the game was called off. We're back after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
On the evening when Aberdeen Celtic is called off late, 4 hours before kick-off, and of course Aberdeen a fair way away. And also for Motherwell fans, Motherwell called off mid to late afternoon this afternoon. Games that are going ahead though: Hibs against Dundee United, Livingston bottom of the table, Marvin Batlett now in charge, up against Falkirk, and Rangers against Kilmarnock. 7:45 kick-offs tonight. We're going to hear from Derek McInnes shortly. A few Celtic fans are coming on, not happy whatsoever. Actually, in general, and the Celtic Collective looking for a number of things, Andy. We've talked about it. It comes up every couple of weeks. Where do you stand on, let's say, they're urging a boycott of the Cup game against Dundee?
Wouldn't be me. I would always want to go and support the team, and I understand they've got a gripe with the board, the whole management of the club, the banning of groups of supporters, the banning of certain individuals and fan media and all the rest of it. I know what that's like. They didn't let me in for a long time, still don't. So
you're still not allowed in?
They're a strange group.
We probably don't have time to ask again why. I haven't asked you for a while. You're not allowed in. You scored a great striker for Celtic.
I was told I wasn't welcome by a number of employees. So
I don't think anyone should have the right to say that.
I haven't been for a number of years.
Come on, you should be bigger than that, Celtic. For goodness sake.
So I'm not surprised that they are banning fan media. I mean, that is people that cover the men and the women's game, I think, and I'm sure there are other journalists that have been banned, and now they're banning a group of supporters. Don't really know what that's about, but I think the only way through it is a bit of dialogue.
Stuart's on, asking you, James, how do you think Marvin is going to do at Livingston? Is it just too little, too late? A really gargantuan task to try and keep them in the Premier League?
Yeah, it is. Hopefully he goes in and does well. I've got a lot of time for Marvin. Good coach from what I've seen, and I just like him. He's a likeable guy in terms of when he's speaking about football, but it's a tough job. The fact that obviously Davy Martindale's going upstairs as well, and Marvin had his spell at Queen of the South, which they were in the same league as us at the time, and they struggled a bit, but speaking to him, he was trying to do a lot of things right and was met just with a bit of trouble there. Look, it'd be great. It'd be great if he goes in, a young manager, and go. Look, it's a tough job. Bottom of the Premiership at the minute. They've not won in however many games, and
one win all season.
Yeah, it's really tough for them at the minute. But no, like, I hope he goes in, and I hope he gets a bounce from the players. I don't quite, in terms of when you look, it's not new. Marvin's been there, but look, he'll have his own ideas. He'll have his own way, and hopefully he gets it into the players, and they take something from it, and they can get a wee turn. It's a club obviously I started at, so I've got a lot of time for Livingston, and I'd like to see them doing better than they're doing, and obviously that starts tonight against a very good Falkirk.
I'd forgotten that's where you started. Clearly Stuart hadn't, because he was on with that comment. Andy, it's really the toughest of starts for him, isn't it?
Yeah, you want him to do well, but you've just pointed it out. 24 games played in the league, and they've won just one. Yeah. I don't know what he can bring that is going to... I mean, you've got to be serious and look at the gap. What have they got? 11 points. Third bottom, I've got 23 points. Yeah. They're not going to make that up. I think their best hope is to try and catch Kilmarnock and maybe have a playoff spot. But given what Kilmarnock did at the weekend to Aberdeen, I mean, I think Rangers are obviously huge favourites tonight, given the run that they're on. So, yeah, I think Kilmarnock and Livingston will finish in the bottom two, and it's going to be really tough for Marvin to get the wins that are needed to get you out of trouble.
Killie had a huge result at the weekend, and they come to Glasgow just now for the game tonight. Should be a good game. It's not going to be live on the telly though, is it? It's not on Sky. They can't switch around as quickly as that. No doubt it'll be on Rangers TV. James, you're looking forward to this one? Neil McCann, Billy Dodds back at their old stomping ground.
Yeah, not too long ago they were in the home dugout, both of them. No, I've been in, obviously not playing, but been part of Neil McCann's staff, going to Ibrox, going to Celtic Park. And the one thing about him, Neil will be saying to the players, particularly after the weekend, it's just the way he is. He'll be going there and saying, we'll win this game, and have a plan to go out and have a go at Rangers. It will be too much, in my opinion, for them. I think Rangers back to a big crowd and what's on the line will be too good. But what a fantastic result for Kilmarnock at the weekend. They were on I think it was a record run for them as well, in terms of how long they hadn't won. So Neil would have been desperate to get that win, and it was a comfortable win in the end. So he'll be looking tonight, anything you can get. And I know it's a cliche, but we say it, anything's a bonus going to Celtic Park or Ibrox. And look, it's true to an extent, but it's even better, particularly when you won at the weekend. So there's a lot of pressure off them in that sense. But we say that Livingston at home to Falkirk. I think Falkirk are the only team Livingston have beat. But over the last couple of years, Falkirk haven't beat Livingston either, when both teams were in the Championship. So that's one that Neil will have his eye on as well, because we were talking about the gap. So he'll be going and saying we need to get something from Ibrox, and it's just the way, as I said, it's the way he is. He'll be desperate to go back and just show them, because obviously they were there not too long ago. So for him going back there and putting a performance on, he'll believe if they put a proper performance on and keep the game tight, that they could nick something.
Danny Röhl has said, 12 million during the window, Andy? So Rangers, the top spenders during the window. Whatever
you think of Rangers and the way they've been managed off the park, and I know there's been a lot of turnaround in the boardroom and in key areas, they've certainly given Danny Röhl the best possible chance of what he wanted, what he thinks was required to get Celtic the title. Obviously chasing Hearts and Celtic. It's going to be a hell of a run-in, but to be fair to Rangers, they did the business, signing business early, and I think that helped them.
The manager, Danny Röhl, was asked, what's your confidence factor now to win the title?
I was prepared for this question, I'm honest to you. I think I totally believe we can a lot of win games until the end of the season. But I can't give you the guarantee today that we win 14 games, because there's still an opponent. But I'm totally convinced that this group has everything to go forward in these final steps.
Is that it? It is. Just stop there. I thought he was going to say a little bit
more.
more.
Well, he's right to highlight. I mean, there's 14 games left. And I think normally in a 38-game season, you're looking at 28, 29 victories and then you're drawing games as well that will give you another, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 points. It's amazing that Celtic have lost 6 games already out of their 24. I mean, they've lost a quarter of their games. But they're 6 behind with a game in hand. They're level on points with Rangers. And it's a really bizarre season. And it could go to any one of the 3 of them.
Sure. Danny Röhl said there, look, I can't guarantee we'll win every game. But, you know, Hearts have lost a game since he said that yesterday. He was asked about Hearts under race. This was yesterday afternoon.
I think, general, they are very consistent in what they are doing. Even we took a lot of points and we closed the gaps closer and closer. At the moment they have the advantage that they have always this 6 points ahead. Even they play a draw and they are still ahead. But we come in final weeks, and the good thing is we have minimum 2 games against them. I think this helps us as well. They have to play some strong opponents. We will see. You can be maybe 37 games on top of the table. More important is where you're at the end of the season, and with this mindset, I would go really in this last couple of months now. I think this is also what I want to say, and I know a draw feels never nice. We know this. We are also disappointed, but a draw in Hibs. And I think this is what I learned now since I'm here. Hibs is a tough place to go. It's not always where the world goes under. I think this is also crucial to understand, and this is on my part. I understand completely the disappointed because we're emotional. We want to do this, but a draw, take the point at the end. The point could be very important for us as well. And tomorrow we are ready to go again against the opponent. They took now a first win after October with the manager. We know him, you know him. He will bring a lot of energy, spirit into. He wants to show how good he is, of course. We have to be ready for a next big fight because this is tough in this league. And if we do our homework, then we will see where we are after this match day.
James Roberts been on. He's a regular attender at Ibrox. He said Sunday was really poor. It's not good enough. And they need to come back tonight and show what they're made of, that they really want this title. Because it is there for Rangers.
Yeah, it is. Sunday was poor. Rangers, there's been games that they've been poor in and they've found a way to win. So, but I think Danny Röhl's comments here are good. He says, like, it's not the end of the world. They went and got a point. And look, hindsight's a great thing. It's easy to sit here and say it now. It's a decent point. Hearts lost last night. Now, had Hearts hung on with a couple of minutes to go and got the point, you could maybe say, look, that's okay. You're going away. St Mirren, they've not been great recently, but they're still a threat in this league. But now, if Rangers can come off the back of that point and win tonight, and win with a performance as well, a convincing win, then it's not too bad a point. Andy hit the nail on the head at the start of the show. All 3 clubs are going to drop points. It's how you react after it. That's the question that's posed to Hearts now. How are they going to react when Hibs go to Tynecastle next week?
And for Rangers, if they win tonight, they're only 3 points behind Hearts, same number of games.
And that's the big thing for me, when they're getting closer and closer now. We're all, you're sitting, you're watching it. Hearts are so consistent. Danny Röhl said that as well, that when they're going to Paisley, they go up to Tannadice. That was the one out of the 2 games I'm looking at. And I know both teams haven't been great in terms of Dundee United or St Mirren, but I'm looking at that and saying, if Hearts can go up there, a live TV game later, after everyone's played, or on the Saturday certainly anyway, and if they can go up there and win that game, which they've done, I thought they would go to St Mirren and win. So the fact that they've went in there, that they've dropped points, it's a massive boost, a massive shot in the arm for Rangers, for Danny Röhl. It was for Celtic also, but their game being off, but they'll get the chance to play that later on. But I just think when they get close enough that every game they can, Hearts are playing, Rangers are playing, Celtic are playing, and if a team are within, any of those 2 teams are within striking distance of them, so within 3 points, I think that just amplifies the pressure, and that's what Rangers will be looking to do tonight.
Yesterday morning, Martin O'Neill popped up on the show that used to be on with Jim and Simon on TalkSport, and they asked him, here's just a little clip from it, look, Martin, are you going to stay, are you going to go, if you're offered the job full time next season?
Yeah. Would you want this job if it was there to be gotten?
Yeah, would I want the job? Do you want an answer now?
Yeah,
Probably
I do.
not.
Yeah, I do. Because I know you would.
Right. Yeah, probably not. I think it's much, much easier to be sitting alongside you two. I would enjoy that much more, spiky old sod. Yeah.
So you said probably not there, so it's not definitive. I think a lot of Celtic fans would like to think they've got faith in Martin O'Neill, but not in the board.
If he makes it, it would be a remarkable story, remarkable example of management and what a manager can do for a group of players. What he can do for a club, what he can do for a group of supporters, but you take him at his word, and if he's saying he doesn't want it, and I think you do look at it and you think, wow, what a rebuild there is. We touched on it earlier with the amount of changes that are going to be made in the summer. Certain people obviously want to go, Maeda, Hatate, maybe Engles. You've got half a dozen players there that are on loan, maybe going back to their parent club. You've got players like James Forrest and maybe Schmeichel that is
James not just going forever?
Well, you're looking at changes there, and I just think it's going to be an enormous turnaround. But you want to go into a turnaround with the title in the bag, and Celtic have still got a chance because of what Martin O'Neill's done for them.
He spoke about Arne Engles, and Stephen's been on to the Go Radio Football show. He's saying Engles is a far better player under Martin O'Neill. He just knows how to get the best out of players. Martin O'Neill, genius, is what he says.
Well, it's just very true that certain managers can say certain things to players and they behave differently. And if he's giving them little nuggets of information, he's not too far away from that area of the park that Martin O'Neill knew so well, so successful in. You don't know what the input is from the likes of Sean Maloney, just in terms of the whole team shape when you've got the ball, what you want them to do. When you lose the ball, how you want them to react. But I think what you're seeing now from Engles is a level of performance and a level of consistency that maybe wasn't there before.
Martin O'Neill was asked yesterday, have you spoken to Arne Engles?
No, I think that his agent was happy enough with the situation. He said that this is it. I think Arne is happy here. He wants to see what the season will bring at the end. Listen, we end up with nothing. We could get knocked out against Stuttgart in 2 games. We could get knocked out against Dundee on Sunday, and we could lose tomorrow night. So that is very feasible. It can happen. We're chasing down. What I wanted to do, and I just reiterate, I wanted some players in here that could maybe help us. And I think that they will. I think that they can do.
Well, we'll not find out about it tonight because the game is off with Aberdeen. It came out this afternoon. Aberdeen contacted the SPFL to arrange a pitch inspection ahead of the game. Prolonged rain over the last few weeks has made the pitch heavy. The ground staff have been working tirelessly to get it ready. There's an area of the surface at the Merkland end causing concern. And then it went off just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. We don't know for sure, but we're looking at the diary and it's a month tonight. Would probably be the first available, which would be March the 4th. We're back just after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Well, we're looking forward to virtually a full card. Last night, of course, Hearts lost at St Mirren. Big news for Buddies fans. Of course, they needed it last night. Miguel Freckleton scoring a header with just a few moments to go up against 10-man Hearts. But 2 of the games tonight are off. The Rangers game, of course, goes ahead against Kilmarnock. But Aberdeen against Celtic and Dundee against Motherwell called off. Let's go on to John, the Celtic fan from East Kilbride, is on. He was on the bus on the way to the game. John, are you on the way back? Good evening.
How you doing, team? Yeah, just arrived back in East Kilbride. Honestly, I don't know how the decision couldn't have been made earlier. It's just frustrating that the Dundee Motherwell game get called at 2:30, and yet we had to wait till 4:15. Well, I don't see why that was the case.
Agree. How far did you get up the roads? Where were you?
We got as far as do you know the roundabout at Dunblane?
Absolutely.
Just past Stirling. So we got as far as the roundabout there. Managed to see Stirling Castle, ground the roundabout, and then we came back. So it was still bus driver still had to be paid £15 though. So that was that was a problem. But it's frustrating they just couldn't be made earlier.
I just saw pictures there. Andy and James are here. James McFadden. Sorry, James McPake is with us. Yeah. I was watching the coverage last night, James, and obviously it was Faddy. It was on that one. And Andy, the fourth official's been speaking about it. We saw pictures there. Does it look pretty bad at that end?
Yeah, it looked really muddy. It looked really soft. There was no bounce in the ball when it was coming from a great height. I feel for John because I don't know if he's free to make the rearranged game, which we think will be in about a month's time. And everyone that has a ticket, you were obviously trying to get to the game tonight. And now just the sheer inconvenience of it all, it's a great pity, and you feel for John and everyone who's made the effort to go up there early and be there in plenty of time, but it's been called off pretty late. Which bus is it you travel with? An East Kilbride one?
I was on the East Kilbride bus, the Shamrock, but I'm just annoyed because it's obviously half days at work as well. Do you know? It's
exactly.
like that's the full thing about all the money it's spent, and then I mean. I don't understand that, did Greg Suter go up early, or, why did Dundee Motherwell? I just don't get how that can be made at 2:30 and yet we need to wait. I just don't get it.
Exactly.
Like, why was there such a delay?
Sure. James,
that's I think John's point is the frustrating one. Like, John, on your way up, are you looking and you can see there's a pitch inspection at Dens Park, and right away you then thinking, or did you not even know that was happening?
What I checked was I just seen a notification that the game had been postponed. It was probably about 3:45 or something like that. So they got that call nice and early. It was just frustrating that we never found out till about half an hour later. I don't know. I just feel as if I appreciate the calls made and that's it, but it's nice, to know if I mean, could these decisions not be made in the morning? What is it? Just one part of the pitch? Like what's it's just a bit of a pain.
It is. They should have flagged up.
Don't want to know.
John, you're right. What do you make of how do you feel about your club? Because if you'd won tonight, the score, you'd be 3 points behind Hearts, 6 points behind the game in hand. Where are you with everything? You go to the games, and we want to listen to people actually pay their money. How do you feel about everything at Celtic?
Yeah. Well, I think it's I mean, it's not been the most organised season, let's put it that way. And
Sure.
Celtic are lucky to be in the position that we're in, considering the circumstances, because it probably could have went AWOL completely this season based on how we've been doing our business and how the seasons went. But I mean, it's one of the ones where I think most Celtic fans are just taking it game by game and seeing how we end up, because we've obviously signed loan players, just there, and that's fine. But we just want to see our team winning week by week. I don't know if we'll get the momentum going properly, but under Martin O'Neill, we seem to be doing pretty well. So that's a good thing.
Do you support a boycott of the Dundee game that so many fans are calling for, and some sort of demonstration at the Stuttgart game, John?
Andy, it's a tough question to answer. I don't know at this stage. I mean, I was actually thinking about tonight. I think a lot of the Celtic fans back in the bus were saying, well, we need our Celtic fix of the week, so we're going to go. That tonight was our boycott, I suppose, out with our control. But I don't know, to be honest, Andy. I think there's obviously disgruntled nature, and I think a boycott will come. It's just when's the question.
The trouble is, it's the players that miss out on that, don't you? You need the crowd behind you, James, I would imagine, for games like this, because the cup is there to be won. They'd be one of the favourites for it. They missed out in the final last season. What do you feel about boycotts?
No, I was wanting to ask John that, like in terms of what does it. I understand the nature of it when you're not happy. What you need to make some sort of protest. But John, what's it going to achieve in terms of for the players? Certainly, I get that there's problems with the board, with whoever, but Celtic fans not turning up at the weekend, that's not going to help the players that are there or the new players coming in. So look, just for somebody that's a bit unsure on what it's going to do. In your thoughts, John, what's it going to achieve at the weekend if you do boycott?
Well, I think a boycott does send messages, more messages to the way that the board have been, I suppose, talking and communicating with the fan collective. See, that there's problems with that relationship overall, and there's problems throughout the season with various issues. I think Celtic fans, to be perfectly clear, have got no problem with the players, no problem with the manager. It's just obviously board level, and I think Celtic fans are looking for a full regime change, a full board change. Everything needs to go, or everything needs to be replaced. I mean, we're quite happy with the playing squad, the management, etc. What it does to the players is the players should be able to play in any environment. I'll be honest with you, regardless whether fans there or not, you know. But I appreciate the backing of the fans, and the fans spend the money. That's the difference. You know, we spend money.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, that's what Celtic need to be aware. You know, we spend a hard-earned cash going everywhere, but you know, at home as well. You know, there's so many local businesses that get money. You know, the club shop, etc. And if these continue, then you know, we're on a kind of losing pattern.
Players are professional, John, but honestly, my own experience, I can tell you that Celtic supporters put a yard on my stride when they were all behind me and my team. And I think it's more difficult. I played in a time when Celtic weren't good, and we had a poor team, and we still got support, but you know, there was protests against the board around 94, that type of time. But it's much more difficult, and supporters can make a difference. We spoke earlier about the manager making a difference. And
are they going to listen anyway? Is Dermot Desmond going to listen? I mean, that's the question. Listen, John, before you go, can I ask you about Oxlade-Chamberlain? That was the news yesterday. You see it in the papers today. This is what Martin Neal said about the former Liverpool and Arsenal star.
I do. I genuinely do. Yes, he has trained at Arsenal for some time since his time in Turkey. Spoke to him, and but I mean, I'm sure he'll have lots of options, maybe closer to London as well too, like anything else. Yeah, but he was very affable, I must admit. I would be very interested in doing it, but as I said to you, one, I'm surprised that people haven't taken him up closer to the area, and and he has trained. He was telling me he's training with Arsenal for quite some considerable time, and so in terms of fitness. It's not match fitness, but it's fine. We'll see. And he's got loads of options.
John, if you were the Celtic manager, what would you do?
I would take him. 100%. You know, the experience. You know, in high-profile games, and 100%. I would take Oxlade-Chamberlain.
John, thanks a million. Sorry about that this afternoon. I think it's a shocker. They should have had the inspection earlier in the day. They knew there was a problem at that end of the ground, and they left it late. Andy makes a good point. Would you rather call off the game really early? But I think when they're coming from Glasgow and further afield, the Celtic fans, then it's a bit much. John, appreciate the call. Cheers.
Cheers, John.
Thank you, John, there. Just back from Aberdeen. So, I mean, listen, that happens. I know that. We all go at the start of the programme. This is ridiculous, the game's called. And the Motherwell fans as well. It's not quite as far to Dundee as we all know. But, you know, we hate the games to go off. But there are some big games on tonight. Rangers fans, what are you thinking ahead of the match with Killie? What about Killie fans as well? They were so pleased about last weekend. And Falkirk. Wow, surprise package of the season so far. They're in 33 points. They'd love to go on 36 tonight if they can beat Livy. And Hibs against Dundee United. So United need a win, and Hibs want to get back on the horse after,
a couple of suspensions for Dundee United,
That's
of
right.
course, after that game against the Herts. My good friend Dave Bowman, of course, will want to make. Do you know Dave as well?
Yeah.
He got, it was 3
I
red
saw that
cards
up in the stand, sitting there forlornly on his own. And of course, Jim Goodwin, they appealed, but it was thrown out. It wasn't going to happen, was it? They weren't going to win it, I suppose.
No, and Good, he's come out and says he's still annoyed that the appeals weren't successful. But no, look, both teams need a win. Yeah, Dundee United, they badly need a win, but so do Hibs. They need to get themselves going. And but I keep saying it, but with a derby coming up, there's no better time to go and win as well. They have no cup game, obviously, after Dunfermline put them out. So it's been a disappointing couple of weeks for both clubs, and that's a big game at Easter Road tonight as well.
Sure is. Jens Bertel Askew, what a season he's having. He's confirmed that Motherwell dismissed late deadline interest for Tawanda Maswanisi. Deadline day, interest came in and they said no. Anderlecht, Celtic and Blackburn Rovers. So good on the well that they said no to that. News is next and then we're back.
The Go Radio Football Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Rangers fans looking forward to the game tonight. Rangers against Killie, kick-off 7:45. We'll bring you the team news during this hour of the programme. Also, Hibs against Dundee United and Livy against Falkirk. Last night, St Mirren, what a win for them, Andy. Miguel Freckleton, right at the end, it looked as though it wasn't the best game to watch, I'd say. But then he popped up, powerful header.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the best game to watch. I thought the standard was poor, but big win for St Mirren. They needed that, and I think Stephen Robinson is right. They are in a battle for survival. I don't think they're not going to be anywhere near the bottom of the table, but they could get sucked in if Kilmarnock and Dundee started to win games. So that's why it was such a big win for them. And I think they will have enough to get away from the bottom two.
You would imagine they would have. Billy's on, a St Mirren fan. He said he was there, loved it. He said the atmosphere was really special then at the end. You could sense the relief, James, as you would expect for St Mirren. It hadn't had a win since, well, the cup final, October.
And look,
November.
it's been disappointing for them. They've been consistently performing well in the league. Obviously, they've had 3 top 6 finishes. And then they go and win a cup, which is a great day for them, great day for the players, the staff, but most importantly the fans. And then this run of form after it, where I think we all agree when you watch St Mirren, and we have done over the years, or the last couple of years since Stephen Robinson's been in, certainly that you look at it and we'll all say they've not got enough, but Andy is right there. Sometimes, or they've got enough, that they'll not get dragged into it. But Kilmarnock pick up a good win at the weekend, can that propel them? I think Dundee have been decent over the last 2 or 3 months, so it must have been a worry for them. I think it still is a worry, obviously, but last night would have helped it. The relief at the end and the atmosphere was helped with a massive away support from Hearts that they're following them everywhere at the minute. So I think it was a really important game, and one that St Mirren will be relieved that they come out of, because in their heads as well, a couple of weeks ago Hearts go down to 10 men at home and they still go and win the game. So sometimes when you see that happening and you're the team that's got the 11 and the other team have got the 10, it adds a wee bit of pressure to you. So that was a big win for them, but Stephen Robinson will be looking just to push on and go and get more points.
Let's hear from Derek McInnes then at full time. They lost, as you know, 1-0.
Did what we had to do just to try and get something for the game. Obviously we're all working it a bit harder than we want to by constantly going down to 10 men, but we're responsible for going down to 10 men. We've caused that, and we have been unbelievable when we were coping mechanisms when we were down to 10 men recently. But you're playing with fire if you keep doing it. No complaints about the red card. Our refusal to play forward gets us in a fanco, gets us in a state. We knew St Mirren would try and come after us. The distances between our centre-backs and their centre-backs were about 30 yards, but we still refused to play the ball in behind them. And we got the game back to front. At times it was okay, and we break the press and you get through it. But what the game did need was us to play in behind them a lot more, and none more so than the penalty. We've had 2 opportunities to play forward and we don't, and we end up getting ourselves in a state, and it ends up with Hawks having a last gasp challenge. No blame on him for that. So there's a consequence as well. You struggle here and you're obviously trying to salvage something for the game, but there's a consequence, a knock-on effect with players suspended. So, but after that, there's no complaints for me about the effort for the team and what we had to do to manage it. I think obviously we've done it recently, and the belief and confidence is there within the team, the spirit to try and get something for the game. And the galling thing is, it comes from a set play where the numerical advantage shouldn't really matter. We should be okay with that side of it, and we just get caught under the ball a bit, and it's a good header for their point of view, but from our point of view, a free header 6 yards for goal is you're playing with fire there as well.
You said it earlier, Andy, you can't keep playing with only 10 players and expect to keep winning.
Yeah, and I think one of St Mirren's strengths is the fact that they do have good ability in the air, and just the amount of balls that were coming into the box. Hearts were defending well, but you only have to lose one of them. That's what happened late on. They had no time to recover, only a few minutes of added time. And you're now in a situation where you look at every defeat and every victory, and You know, every victory is so special because you're keeping the pressure on at the top of the table, but every defeat now, and you wonder what the consequences are. You know, Hearts will be interested to see how Rangers do at Ibrox tonight. I think they'll win, and the gap will be reduced to 3 points.
You expect Rangers to win tonight. We'll go through all the games shortly this evening. It's a massive game for Rangers fans. Give us a call on the way to Ibrox. 0808 17 17 700. Paul Cooney with Andy Walker and James McPake. Emily's been on, a Celtic fan, saying it's going to be a real pile-up of fixtures for Celtic. She's happy that they're still in the Europa League, but probably this game will probably be played now the 4th of March, just after the Rangers game.
Yeah, and obviously they've got the European game right before Rangers as well, so it's difficult. I think Martin's been pretty vocal about it since he came back to Celtic, that the fact that he's not getting a lot of time on the training pitch because they're just game after game, which, look, every Celtic fan will be delighted that they won those games in Europe and they've still got a chance of qualifying, but with the game being off, it's a frustrating one for them. It just adds to the fixtures, and you say that they're going to play in Europe, they're going to play Rangers, and the likelihood is they're going to have to travel to Pittodrie the next midweek as well. So look, it's tough, and I can understand Emily's concerns over that, because that can cause you problems, particularly in a freeway title race.
I see the fourth official, Andy, Mr. Suter, I think it was, you said, has been saying player safety was paramount at Pittodrie, paramount to his decision. There was an area of concern at the bottom end within the penalty area. I went down and had a look at that. There's extremely soft mud. It's moving when you put studs in it. There's concerns that the player's safety, when they're running in that the boot will just slip. It's just not taking studs. The ball's not bouncing in the area. No one's got a problem with that. I think everyone's problem is with the timing. Was this game on at 12 o'clock? Was it on at 2 o'clock? Yeah. Was it on at... Well, obviously it went off, I think, around 4, maybe half 4. So, it was after 4, you're right.
So you wonder when... And obviously everyone would know what the forecast is, and it didn't look good for that area, especially around kick-off time for the duration of the match. So... I think anyone's natural gripe is just the timing of the postponement. Given the distance between Glasgow and Aberdeen, the amount of travel you get from away supporters, far from ideal. Yeah, we heard John earlier, who's been forking out. Listen, playing games midweek, the weekend as well, is what you should want. That's why you go to clubs like Celtic and Rangers, because you want to be playing in everything, not this tosh about, too many games and all the rest of it. But this is going to be an issue. Well, the other thing is, if you're winning, yes, keep the games coming. Look at Rangers a few years ago, remember? You know, when the Europa League run, and they had extra time, didn't they? Bring the games on, because you're winning, you're playing well, you're confident in your teammates, you don't feel tired, and all of a sudden you feel tired when you lose a game or two. Bring the games on. Bring Paul on, a big Rangers fan, on the way, I think, to Ibrox. Hi, Paul. Good evening.
Evening, Paul. Yep, big game tonight. A chance to go ahead of our rivals due to the weather conditions and whatnot. I think it's going to be a tough game tonight, Paul. I think Neil McCann and Billy Dodds will, not because they just won the last game, but I think they'll have something to prove to the 49ers. Do you think? That they never maybe got a chance. I do. I think that could be something that gives a wee bit of an edge. But my point tonight is, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play. I hope he's more of a box type player, maybe puts goals away or shots away to get goals. But if we win tonight, we've got a relevant to the cup game. We've got Motherwell away, and then I think, if I'm led to believe I'm right, there's Rangers, Celtic at Ibrox, Hearts at home, and then Celtic at Ibrox. Would I be right saying that? Yep, that's it. It's quite a run in. Listen, these are the games that you want, surely. Listen, see your first point, Paul. Can I take you back to that? I think that's a really good one. So Billy Dodds, along with Neil McCann, the manager. Billy was with us just about every week since the start of the season. And you could sense a frustration. He didn't say anything, he didn't have a go at the 49ers or whatever. It was up to them. But in our year of the bluffers, as we called it here on this channel, the year of the bluffers at Celtic and Rangers, all these spreadsheets that impressed directors of football or football doctors, utter nonsense. Tosh. And it cost probably Billy and Neil and maybe Barry the chance to get in and bring in Lon Shanklin, Josh Mulligan. I think it's a good point as well, Paul. And I think, well, obviously, Kilmarnock, they have nowhere near the resources that Rangers have. Rangers are flying high, they're on a good run. I know they dropped a couple of points at Easter Road, but in general, 8 wins in the spin, I think it was.
If Kilmarnock and Neil McCann, Billy Dodds put together a team, a level of performance tonight, a shape, a game plan that gets them a point or a win, I think it would be extra satisfying for them to prove that, you know, we're capable of putting a team together and winning difficult matches.
Yeah, it's a good point there. Well, listen, we'll find out tonight. It's going to be really, really tough. So you mentioned there about Nderi coming in. The Rangers fans want to see him. I heard the manager speaking about him. In fact, let's hear a little bit about the player himself. And is he ready?
The good thing is that he played regular a lot of minutes in the last couple of weeks. I think this is in January. Always the big question mark. Some players, they need 2-3 weeks to come really to the point, and we know this. And he played on weekend 90 minutes. He played before he scored, and I think this is fantastic because it gives me straight the opportunity. Put him on, be available for the next game. Tomorrow we will see. We have to do some documents. If this everything is sorted, then should be not a question mark that he is available. And yeah, I think when I was talking to him, I felt straight the fire. And the good thing is, I know the club Hansa Rostock a little bit better than you. You have also there 25,000, 30,000 crazy fans, and that helps to prepare him for our place. And this is what I like to see him. Now he's a smart guy, a young guy, high potential. And now we have 3 players in front. And for me it's now bring them together, find a good shape where they can play sometimes with 2 strikers, sometimes with 1 striker. I think that depends, but it gives me more options now, and this is great to see.
Crazy fans over there. Is that like you, Paul, a bit when you're at the match tonight? It sounds as though if everything's sorted, we'll know soon that he could start.
Oh, 100%. I like what he's saying there. We'll have different options for the first time in a while. So don't get away from it. It's a big gamble, Paul. I mean, nearly 5 million for a guy that was in the third tier of German football. But, you know, I trust Danny Röhl's instincts so far. I think he's got the fans on side. The 49ers are backed us. There's no doubt about that. What is it, £12 million in the January transfer window?
Yep. Biggest spenders in Scotland. Yep, by a mile.
Yep. But money doesn't always buy you success either, Paul. I mean, it's getting it's doing the right things. But I'm glad we've got off the wage bill people like Rothwell and
Danilo
and Danilo and people like that. Because I mean, the squad's bloated. But I like the fact I think Chermiti can hold the ball up well, and I like that. He's still a young guy. What is he, 21 years old or something like that? So he's still got a bit of development. And if this guy can, as I say, from what I'm reading, the areas I'm kind of reading is that he's a kind of box player, and if you put the ball into him, you look at YouTube things, but then again you can see that with other players and they've not worked out, but he seems to put him away, Paul. But no, I think it'll be a tight game. I don't see us putting Kilmarnock away 4 or 5-0. I think it'll be quite edgy, quite tight, but if we can manage to get these 3 points, it puts the pressure on Celtic and Hearts as well, so it just keeps the ball rolling. It's aiming to be a great season, Paul, I think, overall.
Well, it is a season like no other, isn't it? What are you thinking about tonight's game then, James? Looking forward to watching Rangers against Killie and see the new players and how they do. Skov Olsen, I mean, Rangers fans have seen him twice. You know, it's a lot more to come, they would hope.
But I think and then that interview from Danny Röhl there, I think he hits the nail on the head in terms of the players coming in January in particular when they've not played a lot of football. It can be tough, and I think Skov Olsen's a perfect example of that. I certainly think he's going to be a quality player for Rangers. I like him, but again, the footage I've watched back of him has been when he's fit, when he's available, when he's playing week in, week out. Yeah, he's had a little bit of criticism for he's not been great in the 2 games he's played, but I think that's just an example that you need to get in, you need to get minutes in the legs. I think he's going to be a good one. Nadiri's different. Danny Röhl says that he's been playing, so look, if all the paperwork is through, I would expect him to start tonight, and I hope he does, because it's a good chance for us to see him. And again, the profile of him, I like it. He's big. He's, as Paul says there, he's down as a box striker, and he knows those good box strikers. He was certainly one of them. So no, it's one I'm looking forward to, because the one thing about this Rangers team, they've got quality delivery, and they're dynamic and they get balls into the box. Look, they've not scored enough goals, we can see that, but I think signing a player of this profile, and look, if he comes in, I say he's fit, if he hits the ground running, and tonight's a great chance. I also like Paul's point about Neil and Billy going back to Ibrox as well. There's just that wee added edge. Unfortunately, unfortunately for those two, it's the players that need to go out and deal with that, but they'll have a great plan. But I don't know, I've just got a feeling tonight that Rangers are going to win comfortably, just with the atmosphere in there and what's at stake.
Well, the manager was asked yesterday, Paul, ahead of the game, about his midfield options now that he's spent more money.
Yeah, I think we signed with Tochi straight a next one into. We expect that Connor's back in 2 weeks. Not 2 weeks would be fantastic, but it will be more 4 weeks, hopefully, but you never know. We have at the moment 3 midfielders with Dio, Nico and Tochi. I think that gives us a good balance. In the midfield, we were still open and we look to the market, but sometimes it's about timing. But at the end, we are convinced that with this group we can go forward. I have different options now. I think also in front to play sometimes with 2 strikers could be option now, with 2 number 10s in behind. I think we have a lot of options. I'm very convinced that we have a good group together now. I think
it's going to be fascinating, isn't it? So what's your scoreline, Andy, tonight? What do you reckon? Rangers Killie?
Well, Kilmarnock won 3-0 at the weekend against Aberdeen. I wouldn't be surprised if it's that type of scoreline tonight in Rangers' favour. I think they're in good form, and they've got the players to beat Kilmarnock. And remember, Kilmarnock, they're 24 games. They've only won 3 of them. It would be remarkable if they were to go to Ibrox tonight and win. I'm like James. I think Rangers can win comfortably.
Title challenge would be, really dented. Paul, what do you think tonight? What are you going for?
I would love to have the same optimism as the guys in there, but I think I'll have a wee bit of an edge. Like I said, I think Neil and Billy have got something to prove.
They're not playing, though, I can tell you. I don't have the team yet, but they're definitely not playing.
I know. But I'm going to go for 2-0. But I think it'll be quite edgy, and then we'll get that killer second goal. I hope Ryan Nadiri does play, because I do want to see the difference. If we do get the balls in that we can, Paul, and hearing Danny Röhl say they're 2 number 10s, that's the kind of creation we're lacking, because I thought defensively against Hibs, I was quite comfortable throughout that match. I thought Chikwani was decent, breaking up the play. I thought the defence was pretty solid, but where we lacked was the final third. There was no creativity, and just I think this might be the dynamic we're kind of missing. Hopefully, anyway.
Asgard was disappointing, wasn't he?
Yeah. It fails to kind of. It's good times and bad times, Paul. I mean, the free kick he did was outstanding, but there's games he's posted missing. Do you know what I mean? And by hearing Danny Röhl saying they're playing 2 number 10s, I mean, I don't know how that works. How does that work with the guys? How does that work in the game with 2 10s?
James?
It's from a player's point of view, when you played it was really tough. The number 10 kind of just came in when I'd have been at Hibs at the time. And
why is it tough?
Because it was tough to start with, because I was used to playing against 2 strikers, and all of a sudden, like your Chris Commons was kind of first. Drop them into those pockets, and it was a surprise. Do you go in, do you not? But when there are 2 of them, normally the number 10s are the ones that can open you up. They've got quality, and when you've got 2 in there, it just causes, certainly from a centre back's point of view, it causes you problems about who goes in when they're 1 there. But particularly when there's 2, then you're going in, and it can be difficult to deal with.
Do you like it with 2 strikers up front?
I did. Yep. That was it. That was the way.
It's coming back, isn't it?
It is coming back, and I can see and hearing Danny Röhl talking about it. That excites me as well, because it's gone. Like for the game, it's creeping back in. But has the game got too tactical? Certainly in England, where you see that, and they're playing with 1 striker, and you're asking them to do different things. But just go and now. The opposite of what I was saying there about playing against 2 strikers, because we were brought up doing that as centre backs. That's what you were used to. But it's, the surprise is the opposite way now. Centre backs can't deal when there's 2 strikers and 2 good ones up there, because they're not facing it often enough.
I played in both roles, and I mean, the 10, you need to have a touch. You need to have a bit of control. You need to be able to link up the play. You need to have a bit of imagination, a bit of invention,
Guile,
a bit of guile, and you need to have runners, you need to have people prepared to trust that you will be able to hold that ball for whatever it takes, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and that allows you as a teammate to make a run beyond the likes of me or whoever's playing in a 10 position. But you can certainly get 2 number 10s, but they do still need to do the defensive side of the game.
No team news yet. Andy, you're going maybe 2 or 3-0 Rangers. James, your scoreline?
4-0 or 4-1 Rangers.
Right, wow, 4-0, 4-1. Paul, your final decision, what do you reckon?
I think 2-0, Paul. I think 1-0, and then we get that last goal, and we'll save the goals against Celtic. That's a wee bit of tongue in cheek for Andy there. We'll build Ryan Nadiri up, and then he'll get a hat trick against Celtic. That's the way I'm planning it.
See, as a Rangers fan, and what a battle it is, were you quite pleased to hear the Celtic game was off tonight? Because I mean, there's no point in me asking the guys now, but
Paul,
because Celtic were going up
Paul,
there.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, you're better with the points on the board than you are. That old saying. I think if we get the 3 points, particularly a three-horse title race type of thing, it's going to give us a wee bit of an edge. And like you said earlier in the show, you said Celtic's qualified for the next stage of Europa League. So there's another 2 games. And I know what Andy was saying. The more games you get, because I've seen that with Rangers in the Europa League final, but that you can pick up injuries as well. Do you know what I mean? And then remember the UEFA Cup run the Rangers did with Walter Smith, and I think it was something ridiculous like, what was it, 5 games in 10 days or something ridiculous like that. That's what Celtic could come up against, and I don't want to hear Andy moan about it, because as a Rangers fan I suffered that, so what goes around comes around.
He never forgets. He always reminds us.
You won't get any moans from me. I don't think Celtic...
I don't want conspiracy theories.
I don't think Celtic will ask for any games to be postponed.
Thanks so much, Paul.
Oh, we don't do that, Andy. We don't do that at all.
That
Not
was
a chance. That was for Scottish football, that, Andy.
Enjoy the match. Thanks, Paul.
No,
Indeed.
Good
Thanks, call. Paul. We're back after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
I want to say thank you for making the switch. So many people here who love their football, and they have done for many, many years. We're 5.5 years on air.
Marvellous.
Thank you, Andy Walker, for that one. And do you know what? We're now on YouTube as well, so hit subscribe and follow us. More and more people are, and also listening in DAB or wherever you get your podcast. And here's the news we've got from Rochelle and from James. 2 million views in January. So it's rising. It's good. 2 million seems
even with Granny.
Even with Peter Grant. I know we're working on that for sure. Yeah, we're trying to edge him. No, he was in top form last night.
No. He was good last night. I listened to it. Yeah, he was good.
Was he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, he is. Sure? I like him. Yeah, he's really good.
What was he? He wasn't happy the other week about Hearts, was he? No. About the VAR decision. But look, we love the honest controversy. See if you feel it, say it. And do you know what I like as well? Last night I say, so who do you think's going to win? Peter Grant, Celtic legend. And he goes, now, he might pick me up on this, but I'd have to play it back. But I think he said Rangers are the favourites. Now, I think maybe he'll come back. If Celtic win it, he'll say, I said they were the favourites. But I love that honesty. And I think that's what you want on this channel. You just don't want people carrying a green flag, a blue flag, or a...
Well, he's not a cheerleader. I mean,
no,
obviously he wants Celtic to win, but I think he looks at it dispassionately. Who's signed? What do you have? What qualities do you have? What are you missing? What do you need? And, maybe Celtic need a wee bit more. Maybe Rangers need a bit more. And we're all intrigued as to what will happen with Hearts, because Hearts have been the most consistent side and still a bit to go.
We sure have. So what's the latest from Sky Sports? So we had some audio earlier from Derek McInnes from Sky, and lots of you will have seen the pictures of the Merkland Road end of the ground. So what do you make of it, Andy, when you look at it? It does look pretty...
Well, I know that Alan Burrows, who is a decent man, a fair man, and he is talking about they're on the back of 30-odd consecutive days of rain. I think we can all picture those, the amount of snow that has been in the northeast for some time, almost since the start of the year. But I just go back to it. Was the game on at midday? Because if it was, then you can understand the delay in having a pitch inspection. But was there a danger then? Could you have got it off? Even at 2:30, it stops people, some people travelling. I know that others have already taken a half day. And you just feel for people who have missed out, not just tonight, but potentially they miss out on the rearranged date as well.
No, I think that's a great point, Andy, when you said at 2:30. Now, we've seen pictures, obviously, through Sky Sports. We've seen the pictures of that patch in the pitch. There's no way that's not just been a bad shower and rain that's caused that. Like that pitch, definitely, you can see why they've called that off for player safety when you see that. But that patch was obviously there. What comes into it potentially is that the game's live on TV, so the setup's all done, they're desperate to get it on, but that's got to be overlooked. We had John, the Celtic fan, on. He'd taken a half day from work. He was at Perth on his way up, and there'll be loads of other Celtic fans will be Aberdeen fans. I think the way Dundee have done it's a lot better for Aberdeen, for Motherwell, sorry. The Motherwell fans will be disappointed as anyone, because they'd have been going up there expecting another victory.
Stephen Reside was on earlier on. Stephen is really well known.
And he'd have been going, no
he
doubt.
Was. He was buzzing for it as well.
So, they've done it the correct way. We'd agree, I think, that they've turned around, they've called it off early enough that might prevent a lot of fans from needing to travel. It just looks like this one's been left a bit late, particularly when you see the pictures in the video of that part of the pitch. There's no way that was playable earlier, in my opinion.
We should have the team news shortly. I'm astonished we don't have it yet. It must come out any moment, I would think, Andy. It's an hour and 15 minutes beforehand for tonight. Just ahead of that, here's Martin O'Neill. We heard from Danny Röhl about the title race. What did Martin Röhl think yesterday, how it was going, who was going to win the title?
My view is exactly the same as it was before when I arrived here. We're chasing. We're chasing down. And at the end of it all, we've got, we're behind, and it's in Hearts' hands. So, and the less games that are playing, I keep mentioning this, I know you're sick of me hearing it, or sick of, I'm sick of saying it, and you're sick of hearing it, is that we've got no error positions.
Got the Rangers team for you, and Naderi is on the bench. So it's Butland, Tavernier, the captain of course, Giga and Suter, Magoma, Raskin, Diomande and Asgard, Moore, Gassama and Miofsky. So on the bench, Kelly, Wright, Aarons, Romens, so see him for the first time, Chukwani, Antman, Bajrami, Skov Olsen on the bench, and Nadiri, whom we just mentioned. So that's the Rangers lineup. I'll give you Kelly, I think, in a second or two while we digest that. First thoughts, though, Nadiri on the bench there. Asgard is in. So what do you think, James?
Disappointed, as I said, we're talking, and with Nadiri coming in, I was looking forward to seeing him, but I'm sure he'll get some minutes. The Skov Olsen one, to me, makes sense. Danny Röhl's been quite vocal at the fact that he's chasing minutes in his legs, and obviously played at Easter Road at the weekend, so just taking him out and hopefully getting him on. But no, I think we'll certainly, with Nadiri being on the bench, we'll certainly see him. Look, it's a strong team from Rangers, and it's a team that I certainly think will go out and get them in front in the game, and then I expect to see some changes.
Andy, what do you think, just looking at the Rangers lineup there?
Yeah, just always drawn to the main striker, Miofsky. It could be Chermiti. Danilo's away now, which I think is a sensible move. But then you've got the ammunition behind him with Asgard and Gassama and Moore. Raskin and Diomande are pretty powerful players. And then you look at the Kilmarnock side, and they've got obviously Bruce Anderson up front, John Jules, who gives you a wee bit. Kelty and Polworth have got a bit of experience, but Kilmarnock just give far too many goals away, and that's the danger for them tonight.
Rangers no Chermiti, or am I missing this? So he's just not there at all. So we wonder if he's picked up an injury or whatever. We don't know. We'll maybe find out. Yeah, the whole Kilmarnock team, Roos, of course, Galaroos, who was at Aberdeen, Larson, Shield Brown, Dees, Thompson, Watson, Lyons, the captain, who of course scored, Polworth, Kilty, John Jules, and Anderson, who pops up everywhere. So for that one, we've had your predictions on that. Yeah, Chermiti, that'll be something the fans will be wondering, where is he?
I think every Rangers supporter would have expected him to kick on after getting the big boost of 2 goals against Celtic. Being the man that makes a difference, you're the match winner in the biggest game of the season. It gives your supporters a bit of hope. It's the most difficult ground for Rangers to go to, and he's the guy that made the difference. But you mentioned it earlier, Paul hasn't really kicked on since then, and tonight he's not even in the squad. I mean, I'm assuming he must be injured.
Must be, you would imagine, James, because £8 to £10 million. And last week there were reports that there was a bid in of £10 to £12 million. Now on this programme, everyone who's on said, look, I don't believe that's the case. The club didn't say it. This was probably agents speaking, because if you got 10, 12 million for Chermiti, surely you would take it.
I think with his return and his start to Rangers, I think, and the return of goals, I think if that money was available, then I think Rangers would have taken it. But look, tonight's it's a big big chance and a test for Miovski as well. I knew signing coming in at the weekend for a fair bit of money, a fair chunk of money, and someone that's coming in that the fans are excited about. So look, for Miovski, it's time for him to start scoring goals and producing real good performances as well. Otherwise, he'll be feeling the pressure of having a new striker in the building as well. So you just hope when he goes on the pitch tonight that he's got that point to prove, or he's pushing himself that bit where he's thinking, no, I've got the chance tonight, it's my jersey. So look, competition is healthy at clubs, so it's an interesting one to see how he performs tonight as well.
Did we hear Danny Röhl saying, what about the squad depth now that the window's closed? What do you feel?
Nearly on every position now a double up, and it's not clear on every position who is the starter and who is the hunter, if you want. I think this is great. We need this challenge. I think we need exactly this challenge now in the second half of the season, that we increase our performance. For me, we showed that we increased the quality in the squad, and with this we should go forward now.
So Rangers against Kilmarnock, more on that before the end of the programme. Do you want the Hibs team, your old team, James, and your old team as well? Of course, Andy. Hibs, Dundee United. Here's the Hibs team. Salinger, Yuan, who had such a great chance at the weekend. Boyle, the captain, of course. Chawa, Iredale, Obita, Barlaser, Paslak, of course, who has come in. Rocky, Bashiri, Karananga, and Scarlett. So you're looking forward to seeing Paslak?
His background and the amount of games he's played in the Bundesliga as well. So he's an exciting one to see. Obviously, it's
Borussia Dortmund. He was.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah,
wow.
And that's his background. And look, he's at an age now where he's coming over here with a point to prove that he can still do it. And look, the Hibs fans will be excited when a player like that comes in and seeing what he can do. Obviously, they're still missing Josh Mulligan, which is a sore one for that team. I think you lose a lot when he's not there, so they'll need the new signings. Obviously, with Kieran Bowie leaving as well, Hibs or David Gray will be hoping the new signings come in and produce for him. And look, tonight, I spoke about it earlier, Paul, tonight's huge for Hibs. Being at home to a struggling Dundee United team, so look, that's a big game for them. And like Falkirk chasing them, certainly I do. I expect Falkirk to go to Livingston and win tonight, so Hibs will be desperate for the points here just to cement that top 6 place and get closer to Motherwell.
They certainly need it. 36 points after 24 games. Dundee United's a different story, isn't it? Just 25 points after 23. Here's the United team, Andy. Maynard Brewer in goals. Graham, the captain. Trapanovsky, Sapsford, Ferry, Sibbald, Stevenson, Nauma, Cresses, Clail Harding, and Moeller. And we know they're without a couple of the players after.
Yeah, with Fata and Kamara getting sent off against Hearts, it's always a struggle when you've got recognised starters and they're forced out through no fault of the manager, just daft decisions. I know they appealed the red cards, they were unsuccessful, so at least a couple of changes and more now for Dundee United. And it's difficult. I'm sure they had ambitions of certainly getting into the top 6, but they're a wee bit off it.
Only 5 wins compared with Hibs, who've got 9 wins. And it's not what the fans thought they would see this season so far. I mean, Jim could still turn this around, but what do you feel about Dundee United in general? Of course, you spent, that city so well, both clubs so well. What do you feel about United at the moment?
Yeah, they have been too inconsistent. You can't put they're in a poor run at the minute, but they can't put a run of games together, and that'll be annoying, Jim. Look, again, he's a manager that I really like. I really respect him, and I think the job he done, particularly going down to the Championship, and I think coming out of Aberdeen, the way that ended for him, then going in, Dundee United get relegated, and let's be honest, in that Championship that season, they got a lot of stick as well, because Rafe Rovers pushed them the full way. And caused them a lot of problems that season. But then he gets up, like he's a good season last year, but it's just not quite clicked. I think they recruited, there were a lot of wholesale changes in the pre-season, and they just can't get a consistent run, and that'll be frustrating for them because it's a big club. It's a well-followed and supported club when things are going well, but...
You weren't saying that a few years ago when you were manager at Dundee, were you?
Well, I say a well-supported club, and I never say it's a club I like, but no, I love the games up there. They were brilliant.
It's a brilliant city, isn't it?
It is.
It's a great game.
A brilliant footballing city. And it's strange, I've spoken about it, and Andy, you have seen it with commentating on it. It's the strangest derby in the world. When the supporters walk to the game together, they walk after, they go to the pub after the game, but while the game's on, they hate each other like any other derby. It's fantastic to play in.
It's a bit like a Liverpool-Everton dynamic, isn't it? The families it's really...
Great atmosphere at both grounds. Do you think there's any chance they will ever get together? I know they're both looking for new stadiums. Do you think there's any chance they would get together and share one?
Well,
is it too...
Is
it too ingrained, sort of, I don't know, we need our own...
It was spoken about, certainly from a Dundee perspective. Dundee are trying to get their new stadium, and it was spoken about, and I think it was kind of put out before anyone could even consider it, but it makes sense to me. Like the two stadiums are old, the two stadiums are so close. Again, the rivalry, like when we talk about, it's a friendly derby, but they hate each other during the game, but there's no nastiness in map. You get the odd idiots that we see all the time.
A few bams, but not too many.
No, and it's a brilliant derby, and it's get a good stadium that the two of them can enjoy. It makes sense.
You go around the world covering football, if you're lucky enough to, which we have been, and it's mainly a municipal stadium, and they share it in most of the major cities. Anyway, what's your scoreline? Hibs Dundee United. James McPake.
I'm going 2-1 Hibs in a very tight game.
Right, okay. Andy, what do you feel?
Yeah, equally tight. I'll just go for the only goal, and it'll go to Hibs. 1-0.
We're going for the Hibees. We're back with more after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Yeah, we're here tonight. This time tomorrow night, Charlie Mulgrew will be with us along with Mark Guidi. Looking forward to that already. And tonight, thanks for all your comments. Andy Walker, James McPake with me, Paul Cooney. A lot of Celtic fans on, not happy that the game's gone off. The Celtic fans seemed really confident about the game up there. It's always a brilliant game, James, isn't it? What was your prediction going to be, just briefly for the game? Because I know it's one of these ones. What would you have said? Had you thought about it?
I fancied Celtic to win, but I don't think it'd have been as convincing as certainly what I think Rangers will do in at Ibrox tonight.
Right, you're going for 4, aren't you, for Rangers?
4-0 or 4-1 for Rangers, and I'd 2-1 or 1-0 Celtic. I was a tight game.
Andy, what did you feel?
I felt as though it was always going to be tight. I know that Aberdeen were missing the likes of Shinnie, maybe Milne, a few other centre backs, but I thought Celtic would get the job done with, the interest being who would be playing from the start in terms of the January signings. I think that's what all Celtic fans are looking to see, and whether it brings, I don't know, a bit of strength, a bit of physicality, or maybe a bit of pace to the team. They certainly need a few goals, and they need to stop giving away as many chances. So all of these things still to be shown up in the games to come.
Come to Livy against Falkirk in a moment. Just a couple of things from the window. What did you make, Andy, about James Wilson, Hearts, the young player, 18-year-old? He was a schoolboy last year, wasn't he? But he got capped for Scotland, and he's gone on trial. They wanted him on trial at Arsenal, and at the last minute, Tottenham nipped in, and he's down there.
Yeah, I think it's a really strange one, because I thought he might have got some more game time at Hearts, but obviously Derek has got others in front of them, primarily Shankland and Kabori and Braga, Kizaridis. He's got a number of options. So I can understand the frustration of James Wilson, who you just mentioned. He's recently got his first international cap. I think it would be a tall order for him to get involved in the World Cup squad, but apparently he's going to play under-21 academy football down south. So I don't know whether that means he might get the opportunity to be on the bench for a Premier League game for Spurs. It's a strange one. If your manager's saying that I think you've made the wrong decision, I don't know, but the player himself has made the decision and he wants to go. So I really hope it works out for him.
And of course, the problem is, James, as you know, we don't have time for it tonight, but there's no reserve team anymore. There's just not the network of games, competition for young players coming through where they play against players who are maybe on the way down in their career but really experienced as well as the ones on the way up.
Yeah, it's not there, but I'm not sure about it going down to play under 21 football.
Right.
This is a full internationalist. Yeah, he's young and he was in a decent bit of form when he got the call up, but I just don't know if it's the right move. Like when he's played less than 50 games for Hearts, but he's still only 18. And as I say, he's been in the Scotland squad. He's got on the pitch for Scotland, and now are we going to lose him to under 21 football? It's certainly not for me. When I look at the Lyle Camerons, Josh Mulligan, Finlay Robertsons, players that I've worked with that have played 100 odd games in real football.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Lawrence Shankland. I'm sure Derek had him at Aberdeen.
He did, yeah.
When he was a young kid. But he couldn't get a game. He had to go to Ayr United. He had to play against men. And this is the difference. James Wilson's going and playing under 21 academy football. I've no idea what that's like. But I do know that I think there is an avenue where you can get onto the bench for the first team.
Yeah.
So whether he gets an opportunity to play in a struggling Spurs side, I don't know if he can come on as a sub and make a difference. But I mean, I'm all for young players getting an opportunity. This is not how I thought his career would develop, James Wilson.
A quick word about the young lad up from Man United. Last night he was involved in the penalty.
I think he'll do well. He'll do well for St Mirren. The quirk of that is if he was inside the box, it's a penalty and just a yellow card because the player made a genuine attempt to get the ball. But being outside the box, you've denied a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity, so it has to be a red. So it just shows you the little quirk of decision-making. But no, I think he'll be an asset to St Mirren and help them get the points they need to get away from the bottom two places.
I like that about you, Andy Walker, that you know the rules, the laws of the game. So, because these days it's difficult to know interpretations. I'm just trying to get the Falkirk team here for tonight. I see Livy have tweeted out or X'd out about, in fact, I do have the team for tonight. I'll give you it in a second, the Falkirk team. In fact, it is Bain, McCann, Henderson, Spencer, the captain, Yates, Stewart, Allen, Wilson, Lisa, Miller and Marsh for the game with Livy. And I see Livy tweeted out, was about to say it's calling a flag, saying there's no issue here with the pitch. The plastic surface is fine for tonight.
It's just the issue every week. And then, of course, they had issues recently with the snow. The game was off on an all-weather pitch.
Okay.
I'm not having it.
Not having it. You're not happy at all. Here's the Livy team. Pryor, the goalkeeper, of course. Fatty, McGowan, the captain. Muirhead, McLennan, Smith, Finlayson, Kabongolo, Tate, Brennett and Silla. So, James, is this the night that your old team, Livy, get a point or 3 points against Falkirk? What do you feel?
No, I don't think so. I think Falkirk will break that wee hoodoo that they've had playing against Livingston in the Championship and the Premiership this season. I think Falkirk will go there and win pretty comfortably. Not as comfortable, I keep going back to Rangers, but I think it'll be 2 or 3-0 for Falkirk tonight.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm going to go for the new manager bounce, Marvin Bartley, just making some sort of difference. In a home game against Falkirk, you would expect Livingston to have a better chance than most games. So, yeah, I'm going for a score draw.
Score draw. James, you were going back in.
No, I just
late
seen
tackle
as well that there were 1,700 Falkirk fans making the trip there tonight as well.
Brilliant,
it's incredible when you talk about clubs coming up and making an impression on the Premiership and managers doing great jobs. We speak about it often enough, John McGlynn, but 1,700 Falkirk fans, fantastic.
Yes, phenomenal. Could he be for the Aberdeen job? Berkel, Jens Bertolascu for Aberdeen. I mean, what do you feel, Andy?
I feel as though the sporting director, Fanisteely, I think he's looking for someone that he would know, someone who's a foreign coach. I don't think he's looking to anyone here.
The Rangers line-up for tonight, if you're just tuning in: Butland, Tavernier, Giga, Suter and Megoma, Raskin, Diamandi and Asgard, Moore, Gassama and Miofsky. On the bench, Kelly, Wright, Aarons, Romens, you'll see him for the first time if he comes on, Chukwani, Antman, Bajrami, Skov Olsen and Naderi up against Kelly, boosted by that big win at the weekend. Do you think it'll be a good open game tonight, or what do you think? Are Kelly going to just sit in deep? What do you feel, Andy?
Well, Kelly have they've lost 43 goals in their 24 games. That's a big problem for them. So they will obviously I think, quite happy to sit deep, deny Rangers that space in behind, but they've got to get up the pitch. They've got to get Anderson on the ball, John Jules, maybe a wide player. He's got a good touch. He can receive the ball well. He can carry the ball really well. They'll get the odd chance or two, but I just think Rangers are too strong for them. When you see the three of Raskan, Diamande and Asgard, and then the three in front of them are Gassama, Moore and Miofsky. You wonder how Miofsky will get on, because we all rated him at Aberdeen. We've all spoken about him being potentially a bigger success at Rangers. He's got that hat-trick against, was it Annan in the Scottish Cup?
That's right.
But he's been in and out of the team. It's obviously been Chermiti and Danilo. If you get the opportunity to score a goal that makes all the difference, maybe he can get that run in the team that I think he needs.
Big Andrew's on saying he's looking for more from Raskin, James. So briefly, he wants to see him playing further forward.
Yeah, look,
would you do that? If you were his manager, would you say, Barry always said, I think he told him, don't play at number 6, push forward.
Yeah, no, he's got it in him, and you see that he's got goals in him, or he gets chances, and you'd like to see a bit more from him. Well, I do think he's a fantastic footballer, and I'm glad Rangers kept him, just because it's good for the Scottish game, and we've got players like that. But no, you can understand the frustrations. You want to see him further forward, but ultimately it's what Danny Röhl wants him to do, and he's got to follow that. But no, he's a fantastic player, and one that certainly Rangers would have been delighted to hold on to.
So if Rangers win tonight, which you're both expecting, Hearts will still obviously 54 points after the defeat last night. Celtic stay on 48. The game called off late today, and Rangers would go on to 51 points. Just a quick word on Celtic. I see they're getting more money in from so that's a sell-on clause. He went to Genk, so well, some more cash coming in.
Isn't that great? Where is the cash going out? Where is the players that the supporters were looking for, various managers were looking for, and in the summer window, and even this one as well. 14
games to go for Celtic, for Rangers, for Motherwell as well, Hibs and Falkirk. That's it from us. Back here, same time, same place tomorrow night. Coming up next, it's the news, and then Joe Kilday. See you tomorrow at 5.